Okay, so we're gonna open a new document, file new. We're gonna work 8 by 10 for this, and you can just name it last name, first name, movie poster. Wow.
What do we name it? Was it 8 by 10?
Yeah, 8 by 10.
What do we name it?
Movie poster is the name. And the very first thing we're going to do is make a background for the movie poster. And to do that, we're going to use a gradient. So first we're going to set the colors. Because we're going to be putting on stars, we want a dark background. So I would choose dark colors like black, and then you could go with like a really dark navy blue, or you could do really dark green or red or whatever you want. This will be changeable, so if at any point you decide you want to change it, you can. Or if you want it to just be all black, you could do that too. I'm going to start with black and maybe a dark purple for this. I usually change it each time I demo it, so do a few different kinds. But just go real dark, and that way you're going to have some really good contrast between the stars and your background. And then choose your gradient tool underneath the paint bucket, remember.
Oh, gradient.
And the very first gradient in the upper left is the one that reflects whatever is in the foreground, background in your toolbar. So you want that one. And then you want linear. Can you work on it? So up here, you guys can't see it, but it's the far left one there. The gradient tool is under your paint bucket.
You mean it's when you click on the paper?
Yeah. Yeah, if you hold down on the paint bucket, you'll see gradient hiding out. Yeah, and so you want linear, and then you can just throw down a gradient. It can go any angle you want. Left to right, right to left, from the side. And like I said, this is going to be on the background, so you can change it at any point if you want to.
Do you do any color you want?
She did like dark colors.
Step is to make a layer for our stars. So you want to click the new layer button in the layer panel. And I would name it because once you start having lots of planets and things, you don't want to lose your stars, and it'll look like nothing's there because they'll be really tiny. So just name it stars. So just click where it says layer 2 and type in stars. If you click right on top of the words, it will. So we're going to make a few different kinds of stars. I'll come over and look at that in a bit, but not quite yet. The first kind is going to be painted stars, and basically what you do is you take a brush that is really soft and small, so you want to go and basically lower, let me choose the right, just a normal round fuzzy brush, hardness as 0%, size maybe go with like 5 pixels or so, and painting with white paint, be sure you're on your star layer. You're going to just start brushing. And you're not really, making a long brush stroke. All you're really doing is clicking. Now we're going to change the opacity as we paint so that we have stars that are fuzzed out and faded, like they look like they're farther away. And we'll also change the brush size too. And remember, to change your brush size, you can use your bracket keys. So the right bracket will make the brush a little bigger. The left bracket will make it smaller. So just kind of randomly paint them on there. On occasion, change the opacity, change the brush size. And that's going to make the little stars look like they're farther away and closer. And then we're going to do copying of these too. So we will actually double and triple, the stars. So you don't worry, you don't have to sit here and paint until your hand falls off from being so tired of painting. But you want to get kind of a nice base of stars down. So yeah, it's just a little round fuzzy brush. So you can just go to the brush tool and just choose one of these very first brushes. And then you can also, there's some that look like little, they look like kind of like little flaring stars. They're right through here. Let me pick a large one, and then just to show you, looks like that. I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it. So there's some that look like that too, and those once again look in your brush panel. There's a series of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. You'll see them all in a row. Those are default brushes, so everybody should have them whether you've loaded brushes or not. But I would recommend with those, maybe use them, don't use too many of them. Use them here and there. It can be kind of neat though.
Can you tilt the brush again?
In the brush panel, which in CS5 you can get to right here, under brush, you can adjust it there. Or you can also get to it if you're in CS3, it's over here in this area. Alright, now once you have a bunch of stars down, one trick to get more is to copy that star layer. So you grab the layer and you drag it into the new layer button next to the trash can in the layer panel. And I have them, but they're on top of each other. And notice it did make it brighter too. So if you want your stars to be brighter, you can just copy it and just leave it there. But you can also flip it. So go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And now I've got double the stars. The only problem is they're making a pattern. They're doing a mirror reflection because I flipped. So I'm going to actually flip vertically too. So I'll do Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. And then you still might have some that are kind of similar. Here's one way to get around that is you actually go in and you probably want to unclick Auto Select so you're not grabbing the background like mistake. That's what I just did. But you can go in and you can take that star layer, or the one that you've made, and you can shrink it down so that it's smaller. So I'm going to do a transform, edit, transform, or free transform. And I'm just going to take the layer and make it about quarter size. That'll make those stars that I just painted denser. And then I can copy that, and I'm just going to do an option drag. And I'll make 4 of those. I might flip them too when I copy them so that they're different directions. The idea is that you're trying to get stars that look random. Or if there's patterning, just maybe not all over. You could have little star formations or something if you want to. So at the moment, I'll turn off my original, and then you can kind of see. So I had this quadrant of stars. It's a little bit dim, and then I added to it, and added to it, and added to it. So 4 quadrants of stars. Now I can start to merge those layers together, and to do that, I'm going to go to Layer. I'm going to choose the top layer. I'm going to go to Layer and choose Merge Down. Notice the shortcut is Command E. So that's the fast way to do it rather than going up here. So I can do the rest. I can just do Command E. And notice it's merging down. Now I might keep a few layers. So I have my original layer. I have my copy layer. And then I can repeat that whole process again. So I can copy this layer. And now I can transform it, Command T, and make it fill one quadrant. About. And then same thing, I'll just drag and drop. And then finally you can merge those down. So Command E, just merging them down. So I've managed to just get a more dense layer. Now, once again, if you want them to be heavier, copy and just leave that layer in. And that's going to make them show up more too. And let me see, I think if I merge it, does it fade in? No, you can merge it and it still will show up more. It's because we're using a fuzzy brush. So the two layers, even though they're the same thing, they do show brighter. So that's getting denser stars. And I could do the whole process again if I wanted. The other thing I can do is go the opposite direction. Instead of making stars denser, I can make the star field to have the stars be larger and more widely spaced. To do that one, I'm going to copy again. And this time I'm going to zoom out with my navigator, or I could use Command minus. And I'm doing that so that it's easy for me to make my copy large. So now I'm going to do an Edit Free Transform or Command T. And I'm going to hold Shift. I'll hold Option 2 so that it sizes from the center. But I'm going to stretch these stars big. So some of them are going off the page, but the ones that remain are farther apart and they're larger.